You guys good? It's Friday and the vibes, I'm feeling the vibes today that they are good. So I'm hoping that they are good for you. I am really encouraged and excited. I've been talking to this young lady that I'm going to have on. We actually did some work together a long time ago. I don't know if she remembers that, but we did a play a long time ago. And she's just really a sweet, sweet lady. And without further ado, I want to bring her on to meet you guys, and we can have this conversation on the Nitty Grit tonight. So thank you, all you YouTube watchers and all you Facebook watchers. We appreciate you. I am Chantel Denise, and I want to welcome Sara Jean Albrecht. Hey, Sara.
Hi.
Can you hear me? How you doing?
Oh, fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Girl, I am glad you could be here. I know we've been chatting it up a little bit here and there. We actually don't get a chance to talk a lot. So when we see each other here and there, we get to spark it up a little bit. So I'm actually glad we can have a real sit down chat. Are you good with that?
Oh yeah, totally.
Well, how is your day going? How are things going for you?
It's good. It's really good. And I do remember that play that we worked on years
Do you remember
ago,
what year that was?
2014.
Oh, wow. I can't even remember that. Wow. That's been a minute. That's a while. Wow.
Well, 2020 felt like 5 years. So add on.
That is true. 2020. Ooh, that I couldn't wait for that to be over. And I'm trying to be honest, I'm rushing 2022 too. I'm like, can we be done with everything? Everything. Yeah. Wow. Right. Well, thank you for being here. I am very excited to have you. I would love for you to tell the audience a little bit about you and your background. So if you can just share whatever you want to share with the audience, I would be so happy.
Okay. Well, thank you. So a little bit about me. I am originally from Wisconsin. You can probably hear it in my accent, especially when I say Wisconsin. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I grew up doing a lot of theater, and I moved out to LA to pursue acting full time. And grew up doing a lot of theater, community theater, plays, everything. And also had a lot of little mini performances around the house, my own little performances, basically, to the point where I would have my own interviews in my room, and my parents would walk by the stairs and they would hear me talking to myself and be like, Sara, who are you talking to? And I'm like, nobody, it's fine. And I would be the interviewer and the interviewee in that interview, talking about my personal life, the projects that I was working on, just envisioning that. So I grew up with that mindset, basically. And then moved out to LA and living on the west side of LA and pursuing my dream, pursuing it full time. I quit my job, and I've been submitting to different projects, been getting things here and there, working currently on a web series. And it's been a beautiful journey. I mean, it's been ups and downs, which we're going to get into the nitty grit of it tonight. But yeah, I wouldn't change it for the world. I'm having a hard time hearing you.
You can't hear me because I'm muted.
Oh my God.
So like, how did I mute myself?
I was not here.
You know, that happens, but thank goodness that you can push that mute button back up and get back on. But what I was saying, what I had said was that it's kind of cool that you've been kind of doing this all your life, and that your family kind of got a chance to watch you, and they get to witness and participate a little bit. I always think about, I didn't really grow up in a sense of performing and doing a lot of what I do now. I mean, I started a little bit later, but I always love when I hear these stories about these little girls that were like 3 and 4 years old and entertaining their parents. And it just sounds like what you were sharing. That's what you did. So that's kind of cool. That is kind of cool. Real cool. I'm glad you came to LA because if you hadn't, I wouldn't have got a chance to meet you. So this is
This
so
is true.
cool. Being with that you came out here. Now, did you come out here by yourself?
I did.
You
I
came out.
I'm mm-hmm.
So that really kind of jumps into kind of like what I want to talk about a little bit tonight.
Mm,
So thank you for like introducing yourself and telling the people a little bit about you. But that sounds like what you did was took a risk. You took a risk. You came out here to a place not really knowing a lot of people, right? And just saying, "Hey, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to, pursue this acting and this." Um, you do some comedy too.
yeah,
We
just a
we
little
we
bit.
need to talk about that. But you just you came out here to pursue this industry. That sounds like a risk to me. So I wanted to talk to you a
Mm.
little bit about like taking a risk is very courageous. It's a courageous act. And what would you say your definition of taking a risk is?
Mm. Well, stepping out of your comfort zone, stepping out of
Hmm.
everything that you know and saying, I'm going to do this regardless of what happens.
Yeah. Ooh, I
Yeah.
like that. Stepping out of your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool you said that. And the reason being is because when we are comfortable, we don't actually grow. We don't actually move
Mm.
forward. Now, I'm not saying not being comfortable in the sense of like when I get my when it's cold and I put my covers on, I'm comfortable. I'm nice and warm and cozy.
Yeah,
So
me
I'm
too.
not, I'm
That's why
not
I'm in a
talking
sweater now.
about I'm not talking about that, but like just when you're comfortable and you know in your heart that there's more,
Mm-hmm.
in your heart there's more for you to do, that all of you has not completely been presented, you can feel that stuff. And so I love how you said that, like taking risks is just getting out of your comfort zone. And I think that, oh my gosh, that's just the most courageous thing you can do for yourself, is to
Mm-hmm.
get out of your comfort zone. So thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful. What do you think? Why do you think people should take a risk besides getting out of their comfort zone? What are some other reasons you think people should take risks?
Well, something that you just mentioned, you don't grow if you don't take risks. You don't change, you don't evolve. And you just kind of stay in this corner and stay stagnant. And
Mm,
there's almost more, you're just living in this this circle of fear and not really
ooh,
living life out to the fullest, not
yeah,
experiencing life. So yeah.
yeah, I like that. Not living life to the full. I can relate a little bit to that because I know
Mm,
for me, one of the things that I had to do, I think it probably started back in like 2015. I really had to start evaluating what I was actually doing. If the
mm,
world had all of me, if my family had all of me, if my husband had all
mm,
of me, if my career had all of me. And I had discovered that it did not, you know, that there were areas where I wasn't taking the risk. There were areas where I wasn't completely 100. Do you know what I'm talking about?
oh
And
yeah.
so when you're not all of you, there's two things that happen, I feel, with that. When you're not all of you, actually the world gets to they miss out on all this incredible stuff that God has put in you, you know. But more than anything, you actually miss out. It's almost like a
Mm.
default and a disservice to yourself, I think. What do you think about that?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I was taking in what you were saying right now. I was like, yes, that's exactly it. Because there was even a time where, I mean, I moved out to LA, but then I took a step back from it out of fear, out of just thinking I wasn't good enough and having
Mm,
those thoughts, that not letting people see all of me and
mm,
taking that, like I really love how you said taking that inventory of each area of your life and how you really need to see how you can give all of you in each of these areas. And I wasn't doing that before. So
mm.
now doing it, it's like I notice a huge difference and opportunities come your way too,
Yeah,
ones you
yeah,
don't even imagine.
yeah, yeah. I like how you said opportunities come, because they do.
Yeah.
Because because you start to, when you really put yourself out there, I think you get more opportunities with work. I think you build better relationships. I think there's so much to offer with that, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
with that said, I just want to ask you something, like, you know, personally, I know you took a risk to come to LA, which I absolutely love. But are there any other risks that you have personally taken that kind of like pushed you to the edge? And if so, can you just tell us a little bit about your experience with that? Like, what did you learn? What did you accomplish? Just give me a little something, something, like if you've experienced that. Has there been a risk like that for you?
Besides moving out to LA, you're saying, and
Mhm.
like in the
Yeah.
whole acting thing, I'm like everything just kind of circles back to that.
Yeah.
Um, I would say my faith.
Mm.
I would say my faith. Like
Wait,
I
talk
didn't.
about that a little more. Say a little bit more about that. Your risk and your
Okay.
faith. Tell me a little bit more about that. That
Yeah.
sounds
Yeah, definitely.
interesting.
I didn't grow up with a faith. I didn't grow up going to church.
Mm.
So coming out to LA with this idea of wanting to even find a church was it was a foreign thing, but it was there. It was on my mind. And so then I started going, and it was exactly what I needed. I felt that in my soul and my spirit
Mm.
that that was what I needed. But it was a risk because it was unfamiliar to my family. It was unfamiliar to my life prior to that, and everybody that was in that, including my one friend that I knew coming out here at the time. So I took a risk by kind of stepping out of that comfort zone and jumping into my faith and actually having a faith and saying, I stand for something. I stand for something that's
Mm.
bigger than myself and bigger than even, my career. Like it's bigger than anything, and really sticking to it. So yeah, I would say that's another risk that I took, and it's
Wow.
been a
Wow.
great reward.
Yeah, it sounds like it, because that's where I met you. I mean, we
Mhm.
were basically doing kind of like, I guess it was sort of a faith-based play, would you say? So I feel like
Yeah.
we definitely met through that. You took a risk, and I didn't know that you didn't grow up with a background of faith. So that's good to know.
Mm.
I always love when I hear people who don't have a faith and didn't have a background of it or even experiencing it, and that they could come forward to an unfamiliar situation and give themselves to it. And it sounds
Mm.
like that's what you did. That's powerful. I love that. And all of you guys who are watching, we're every now and then we will chop it up. We'll get into some religious talk, and then we'll just get into just like some every other day talk. But all of it is good. And I love that you brought that up, because not a lot of people would talk about having faith or going and pursuing faith is a risk for them. It was a risk because they did not know anything about it. And so I appreciate you digging and jumping into that, honey. And I think, that's kind of like, for many of us, that's one of those risks that serves you for a whole lifetime, right?
Mhm.
Our faith serves us for the long haul. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. What I want to ask you now, in a segue a little bit, um, being that we take risk, I almost feel like risk help us with our growth, like we talk about. It also helps us with our courage. It also helps us with our confidence. So I want to talk
Mm.
about that a little bit about that. Now, this is kind of like a little silly question. Do you believe that people are like born with confidence?
Hmm.
Tell us your thoughts about that.
Relishing. I go back and forth with it. I think initially I want to say yes, because we're born as a baby, and a baby's a clean slate. It's like
Mm,
you're starting fresh, and but then circumstances change, the circumstances that you're living in, your parents, your environment around you can
mm, mm.
influence that decision, because you still can't make that decision as a kid, as a baby and then
Yeah,
a
yeah.
kid necessarily. And so it can influence you to kind of flip the script and change that.
Mm,
And then once you're older, then you can change it again. But so I want to say initially, yes, we are born
mm,
with confidence, because confidence is a positive thing. It's a thing I think that's God given. It's in us. But
mm.
circumstances can kind of diminish it or can take it away, in some respects.
Yeah,
Like for me, I grew up, there was a lot of fear, a lot of like, worry is, when you're worrying, you're caring. If you're not worrying, then you're not caring. And having that mentality, and don't talk to strangers, and just a lot of fear-based things,
yeah.
that there was some good that came from it, but it it definitely influenced my fear based speaking,
Mm,
as opposed to
mm,
the confidence. It spoke more to the fear in me as opposed to the confidence. It wasn't
mm.
until I was older and then recognized that when I could make my own decisions and choices, that I can flip the script in my life too, and choose confidence and not be so fear based.
Yeah, yeah. I love how you said that when we're babies, we're clean slates. Like there's that innocence, that
Mm.
comes for us. I always like to look at confidence. I say confidence is something that you don't have to work for it. It's what you get to
Mm.
be.
Mm.
You get to be
Yes.
that. You don't have to work for it. And let me tell you what Webster says about confidence. It's the state of feeling certain about the truth of something. A feeling
Mm.
of self assurance arising from one's appreciation of one's own abilities and qualities. I
Ooh.
actually like that. Sometimes I look at some definition, I'm like, what the heck was that? But that is powerful. You just really having that self assurance from your
Mm.
own application of your own abilities, right?
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
you know, really talking about like what you were talking about earlier, is like that faith that you took a risk on your faith, and it grew and it grew and it grew and grew. So you start discovering all these things about yourself. And so like it's just amazing that we get to be confident. We don't have to work for it. There's nothing, even in the Webster's dictionary of the definition of it, that has any application of working, working for something, But so often, so many people do that.
Mm.
Confidence is something that everybody wants, right? We all want to be confident. Nobody would sign up to like, I'm gonna go in here and I'm not gonna I'm just gonna be half there. I'm not gonna come in confident. When you go on that audition, you ready to walk up in that door. You're like, I'm about to give it to him, right?
Mhm.
I'm ready to give it to him because you are confident in your abilities. You know that you have something that you're bringing, so you don't have to work so hard because you know what you're bringing.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts about, how everybody wants to be confident, but it's really hard sometimes? It really is hard sometimes.
It really is. So many thoughts. Um, I love that definition of confidence, and that the fact that we don't have to work for it. And yeah, I just love that.
Mhm.
I think when I think of that, it can be really hard sometimes. I think of that's certain circumstances. Those are the circumstances I was talking about earlier that are in our lives that we kind of just let take over. I call them patterns. There's different
Mm,
patterns, like they can be kind of toxic patterns, or just they're just not helpful patterns in your
yeah,
life, that if you don't recognize them, things start, it just continues in your life, and it you just kind of hit a wall each time, and a block each time. So yeah.
I like that. Yes, thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, it is very hard. I know that one of the things I've definitely learned is that it becomes hard because I am actually choosing not to come with all of who I am.
Mm.
I don't know what I know when I've struggled with being confident, it's because I just feel insecure about my abilities. And I love
Mhm.
that, it's being assured that what you have to offer is a good thing. And you don't have, and you and I know we go on these auditions. Well, I don't go on them as much anymore. But when you go on the auditions, like there's a lot of adrenaline, there's a lot of energy that's happening, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so a lot of times you have to psych yourself out of that. Like, where is this stuff coming from? Sometimes nervous energy is good because it removes you from having to try to rely on yourself so much. And I
Mm-hmm.
actually like sometimes when there's that nervous energy because I'm not in control. I can't control that. I can pray about
Mm-hmm.
that, but I can't control that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the hard times come of being confident when you're just not sure of yourself. When
Yeah.
you have listened to, or like you said, like all these things that come in our way to kind of like strip the fabric and the fibers of who we really are. Those things come. So we have to get back on track to go, I I'm good at this. I want to pursue this. I like doing this. And so that's actually enough. That's enough. That's confidence right there. Just bring
Mm-hmm.
that. And so thank you for, sharing that. But I think that we all face these kind of things. Do you feel like there are any challenges for you in this area that you've had to work through specifically with your own confidence?
Oh, absolutely. Especially the
Like,
insecurity part.
mm,
Like
when you
hearing
think
you talk about that, it's like, oh, yes, yes, definitely. It's ongoing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's so true because we all are going to have different things that come our way. But like, what do you do that helps you, besides your faith? What do you do? What an extra, like, if you could share something that actually helps you when these things arise, when you get insecure and your confidence starts to get rattled? Like, what do you do? What's your go-to?
I have a couple things. One of the things is calling someone that, like a good friend or something, and just saying like, "Hey, this is what I'm feeling right now." And I have friends that are just straight shooters. Like they'll just tell me like, "Don't think that way. Don't do that
Mm,
because you are this. You are this. Like remember who you are. Remember who you are. Remember that there's only one Sarah. There's only one Sara Jean Albrecht
yes.
out there. Even if there's other names that pop up on Google, like you're still like you are you, and you have something to bring to that. So you don't
Mm.
like just knock it off, like basically. So I have that. And I love it. I mean,
I love
it's
those kind of peeps, boy. I love
they're
those
good
kind of
people.
peeps.
I've learned over time to really appreciate that constructive criticism.
Mm,
Just straight shooters. And I would say the other thing is having affirmations, having like, I am enough. I am enough when I
mm.
walk into the audition room. I am enough when I do a self tape. I am enough when I, you know, meet someone for the first time and don't really know how this conversation is going to go. I am enough. Like those lies that you've been telling, like I've been telling myself, I'll just write the opposite of what it is, and what the positive side of that is.
Mm.
So like, I'm not enough. I am enough. I am loved. I am important. I am valued. I am seen. I am heard.
Ooh, yes, girl. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I have become a huge fan of affirmations. Thank you for
Mm.
pointing that out because I love your go-to. I love that you kind of like counteract. You're like, no, I'm not going to listen to this lie because it's not true. I'm going to go against that. I love that you switched that affirmation. I'm no, I'm not that. I'm this. That's so cool. And I think like for the audience, the people who are watching, affirmations, some people think, I don't really got time to be writing that stuff down and doing all that. They just roll in their life. But let me just tell you guys out there what Sara is talking about. That stuff right there is golden. Having people in your life, having a community of people that you can connect with that remind you of your awesomeness that God is giving you, and to basically affirm it yourself with writing
Mm.
down what you know is true. And that
Mhm.
is like key. That builds confidence. That actually strengthens you to have that kind of courage, that actually helps you take risk. We're talking about courageous confidence. These are the kind of tools that actually help us. And so, Sara, thank you. I think people need to really see out there. And I know some of you guys out there are doing these kind of things, and I applaud you. But I know some of you need these tools. You need to be able to have simple things like just writing down. I mean, I think the affirmations are some of the easiest actually, because all it is taking, sitting down, writing. All it is sitting down, going back and forth against pushing that old stuff out and allowing these new words to come into your space. So I love affirmations. What do you think, being that, you've taken some risks and you mentioned, and which I appreciate you being vulnerable, mentioning your insecurities. What do you think has been, I want to just segue a little bit into your specific skill, because I know that you are an actress and I know that you do comedy, and you're doing some other stuff too. You're speaking and, doing a few things as an artist, as a performer. What has been the biggest challenge for you, though? What would you say has been one? Don't give me a lot of them, but just one big challenge that you think has really you've come face to face with.
I would say the biggest challenge is not feeling seen. Is not feeling seen. Like I'm a middle child, so we got that middle child syndrome.
Woo!
And just growing up being kind of in the shadow of a lot of my friends, being in the shadow of my siblings at times. It was a lot of just being in the shadow and choosing to be in the shadow because it was safe. But recently, I've really been facing that and saying, instead of hiding in the shadows, I want to be in the spotlight. I want to be seen. I want my words to be heard. And so facing that and saying, okay, it's me that's been keeping myself from this. So what can I do to be seen? Because I can be seen and people want to see me.
Yeah.
So I think facing that and seeing that that's a reoccurring thing with like the patterns of just in my life and the things that have kept me from doing the things that I've wanted to do. It's always, that's been the continuous trigger, is just to be seen, to be seen, to be seen. So I would say that that's like the biggest hitter. And especially being in this industry, you can feel so small at times. You can feel so, you can just feel, you can feel not seen a lot.
Yeah.
So like with the littlest things, but they can pile up. So to face that and say, I'm still seen, I'm still heard, I'm still like, and to be seen is like to be important and to feel important. It's really helped to just dig into that and face it and continue to face it. It might be something, I'm still doing, I'm still facing it, but I've definitely come a long way in that, to the point of being on, your show and, just being on Instagram more, being on social media more, having a presence. It's definitely, it's been a wild journey, but I would say to be seen is the biggest thing.
Thank you for sharing that. I think many people can relate to that. That is definitely, I love though that you are putting yourself out there. I think that's really beautiful. And I think you are seen. I mean, and I think you're seen even when you don't feel like you're being seen. Because just the short time I've known you, I definitely see that there's just so much of an amazing quality in your spirit. And that's enough that lights up the world, honey. If you just come with that, woo, you light up the world. So I just want to say thank you for sharing that, but want to encourage you that you are always seen, and who we're seen by. God sees our every move, and He loves watching us, and so that's the most beautiful thing. But I think that it sounds like with your affirmations, though, it sounds like that probably helps you. Would you say that your
Definitely
just help you? And I'm not a middle child. I'm the oldest. I didn't want to be the oldest. I actually would trade. You want to trade?
No, okay.
But I've actually had many, many friends who were middle children, and they just were like, it was very, very hard, especially if you're the second girl and then the baby is a boy. They were talking about how it's really hard because mom and dad got their girl, and then they got their son. but who am I? Like, I'm in the middle of all this, So I definitely know what you're talking about. I hadn't really experienced it, but I have friends who say they definitely experience, wanting to be seen because they were always overlooked. So parents, you guys hear that? If you got three, make sure you pay attention to that middle one. Make sure you got 5, 6, 7. Make sure you pay attention to those ones in the middle, because it's not just the first one and the last one. It's all in between too.
Yep.
That's just a sidebar for y'all. But anyways, thanks, Sarah, for sharing that. I'm gonna read a few of these comments because I love to always, kind of connect with what people are saying and what they're talking about. Somebody said stepping out of your comfort zone. Someone said, "Hey, Sarah," or "Hi, Sarah." Opportunities come when you take risk. Faith is a risk. Hello, Sara Jean. Someone knows your middle name. That's so cool. Following God feels risky, but yields so many blessings. Confidence is derived from the Latin word confidentia, which means with faith. Oh, I like that. I didn't know that. But it would make sense. It would make sense. Thank you. You are you, and you've got something to bring. To be seen is an important emotional need that we need to acknowledge. I like that. It's a need. I am the middle child, but somehow I took over. Somebody put, I'm the middle child. I like that. Yeah, that middle child, sometimes that middle child come in and go, "Vroom." Y'all ain't getting everything. I'm getting something. No, but yes, well, thank you guys for those comments. I really appreciate that. I always love when the people interact because I love to know what they're thinking about these subject matters. But I'm going to keep it moving. I want to talk a little bit about courage. Courage is something that, I believe that every individual must develop. I think we all must develop it. Like, we can't get around it. When you say it's just not something, but it's the hardest thing too. It's the hardest thing too. What thoughts do you have about this? And like, what are your beliefs about developing courage?
My beliefs for developing courage. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is it takes time, and don't be afraid of that time that it takes, and be patient with yourself along the way. There were so many times in different journals, I would write out different characteristics of what I wanted from myself. And it was courageous, to be courageous, to speak truthfully in love and grace. And, but courageousness was something, because I was so fear driven for such a long time. That was something I longed for, I craved for. So, and I just kept hearing from people, take baby steps, one step at a time, to develop that courage. Have that conversation with that person. Start there, have another conversation with another person. Okay, then you're going to have, even like a bigger thing. I had so many different opportunities of stepping into courageousness in 2020 that it helped me become the person that I am today. I truly believe that, that those situations happen that way for a reason. So I think the biggest thing is, don't be afraid of that time that it takes. But you can definitely get there. You just have to persevere and not give up on yourself, and surround yourself with a community that's going to build you up along the way and remind you that you're on your way and you're getting there. You're getting there. You just keep going and don't give up.
Wow. I love that. I love that you basically had these moments this year that kind of like pushed you to a place of, having courage. And I love that you said baby steps. That's so cool. So good. Because I think that sometimes we put these words that look challenging. Courage is a word that you like, everybody knows, like, oh, everybody is trying to have courage in their lives. Confidence is something that in particular, I know women really, really want. Risk is that thing that you're like, should I do it? Should I not? But what you shared so simply, baby steps, in all of it. You know, baby steps helps produce that kind of courage that you want to grow in. You don't have to just you don't have to jump off the building on a trampoline and go, oh, I did something risky and I built my confidence and I was courageous. You can just start small. And I often feel like that baby steps could even be the way you think about courage.
Mm,
You know, that's a baby step, just like just shifting your thought process about it, what it means to you, you know, what you're accustomed to. You don't have to look at this person and go, now that's courage. I wish I could be like that. When you talk about having baby steps, you don't have to be like that. You have to be like you. You have to be like,
mm-hmm.
what steps are you going to take for yourself to be courageous? So thank you for just, you know, I love how you simplify that. That's cool. It's golden. Um, what are some things that help you mentally, physically, and spiritually in this particular area?
With courage,
Mm-hmm.
prayer, prayer, meditating. Um, my mentor, my life mentor, I could say, she's also trying to be a life coach right now. She told me about a program or just a way of thinking, like when you go to like when you wake up or you go to
Mm-hmm.
bed and you wake up and you just visualize what the day is going to be like and just sit there
Mm.
and think about it and go through each step of the day and what you're going to do and have it be a positive outcome at the end of each thing that you do, and then watch as you go through each thing that it is a positive outcome. So there's so much power in the mind,
Yeah.
um that if we start off our day that way, then we can carry that through. And I think that's really been helping me. I actually did it right before this call. I did it, today. And I don't do it every day. I want to get back to it. But just visualizing like how we want our day to be and how do we want to walk in courage today. So I think
Mm.
that's a big, that's something that comes to mind.
Oh, I like that. I love that. It sounds like, I've actually been doing a little bit of that myself.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. I totally believe, like I told you, I'm a firm believer in affirmations. I wasn't always, but also what I call it vision casting. Like I cast the vision of what I would like to see happen.
Yeah.
Like so with your friend, your mentor has been teaching you is beautiful because I can you imagine if all of us in the world started to plan out our day like you just said? Can you imagine?
I
Um, I mean, just even allow yourself to imagine where we would be as a people, as a nation, if
Mm,
people started their day off with this positive visualization of how great their day could be. Like that is, ooh, we would be, I mean, I think people be walking on sunshine.
mhm,
There'll definitely be less fights, less, there definitely would be a lot of less drama that goes on
mhm.
in our world, if we tried that practice. That's a beautiful practice that you're doing. Very, very beautiful. Um, you've shared a lot and we're almost at our time. I just really appreciate the journey that you're on. If there's anything in particular that that you're working on, because you shared a lot, but if there's anything else you could leave the people like as you're working on your own life or working out things in your own life, whether it's your insecurities, whether you're working on affirming yourself, whether you are working on your own courage, are there any other things that you could share with our audience today that would actually help them in these particular areas? Is there anything else? Because I want to give you that last a piece of advice if you want to give some.
Oh. Um, I think the biggest thing is live by faith, not by fear.
Mm, live by
Live
faith.
by faith.
That's good,
Yeah.
y'all. That's good, y'all. Live by faith and not by fear. There, you heard it by Sara Jean Albrecht. Okay. There's a couple more. Some people said, hello, ladies. Somebody else came in and put tools for building courage is prayer, meditation, mentorship, and visualization. Those are great tools. And then someone put, for as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. Proverbs 23:7. Thank you for that.
Yes.
Yes, they dropping them
Thank
little nuggets up over there. But Sara, this has been great. I really appreciate you being on here with me. I definitely wanted to have you on. I know that you are leveling up in your life with what you've chosen for yourself to go out and do. It's not easy being an actress, y'all. It's not easy being a comedian. It's not easily being a performer, period, because what happens? Everybody's judging what you do, right? People either like it or they don't like it. However, with what we talked about tonight, taking risk, having confidence, and living in courage are all three practicals that whether you are an artist and doing the things that Sara does, or the things you're doing in your own life, whether you go to 9 to 5, whether you're a stay-at-home mom, whatever you do, you can still take risk in it. You can still be confident and you can still be courageous because it's really all dependent on what you want to do for yourself. And I love, Sara, how you gave all these little things that you are doing, because I do believe we have to do something. We can't just sit in our comfortability, like you said. We have to really step out and choose to go, I am enough and I can actually do the desires in my heart that are there for me to do. God gave us these desires. God gave us these talents, right? So if he gave them to us, they're supposed to be used. So there you have it, y'all. Thank you, Sara. Is there any way I would love for people to follow you and connect with you? Is there a specific place? I got your handle there for Instagram, but is there any other place if people want to know you a little bit more and talk a little bit more that they can find you?
Yeah. Yes, my handle, it is on there. That's wonderful. And then Facebook as well. It's just Sara Jean Albrecht. I have a fan page and a regular page.
All right now, girl.
Yeah.
So what's coming up for you next so we can drop if you have something you want to drop? Is there a show you got coming up? I know you said that you're doing a webisode series or something like that. Can you tell
Web
us?
series.
Can you
Yeah.
tell us where that's at? Where is it streaming, or if it's online on YouTube or Instagram? Tell us.
So it's going to be on YouTube, and
Okay.
we're aiming for the end of June of this year to premiere it. So keep a lookout. It's called The David Project. So I'm just going to plug that in there. We've been filming since last fall, and we're going to start filming again, but we want to premiere some of the episodes. So it's a modern day look on David and Goliath, if you know in the Bible. Yeah.
Yes. Congratulations, Sara. That's exciting. That's exciting. So you guys heard that? June, coming out June. Make sure you please post that on your pages and keep us in the loop, because we definitely I would love to see that. That sounds amazing. I've always kind of imagined David and Goliath, and Goliath is so big, but David is big in heart. And he just comes, oh, I love it. He's just like, I'm coming out in the name of the Lord. I don't know what you're doing, but this is what I'm doing. So I can't wait to see it. Can you release what character you're playing? You can't release that yet?
Oh yeah, I can.
Okay, go. Can you release?
I'm playing the reporter Ramona Wells, and she's the one that's going to take down our modern day King Saul, who's our Sal is his name. But yeah, she's gonna bust him and expose him for who he is. His character.
Oh, yes, that sounds juicy, girl. I can't wait to see that. I cannot wait. Well, congratulations, lady. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you guys on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you, Sara Jean. I appreciate you being on here. And as I'm closing out, y'all know the drill. Make it a good day because you can. Bye, y'all. Bye, Sara. Thank you, baby.
Thank you.